full moon in Hove. The moon was resting her haloed head in a black lace collar of tropical plants, which seemed to be climbing up the walls like the secret ladder of Romeo, reaching up past the lit windows as if wanting to touch her glow with their tentative stems and leaves. The next day, the sun rose with radiance, as if full from caressing the moon. It had been shining on her all night, and now came with special light to the mile of earth where I was sitting, shaking its rays over the blue water like silk sheets being spread for a queen. The moon was resting her haloed head in a black lace collar of tropical plants, which seemed to be climbing the walls like the secret ladder of Romeo, reaching up past the lit windows, as if wanting to touch her glow with their tentative stems and leaves. The next day, the sun rose with radiance, as if full from caressing the moon. It had been shining on her all night, and now came with special light to the mile of earth where I was sitting, shaking its rays over the blue water like silk sheets being spread for a queen, rippling slowly over the cool pebbles, glittering towards me like a blessing, rippling slowly over the cool pebbles, glittering towards me like a blessing.
White spring, winter solstice. Dark water, prickled skin, slick rock leading in. Move slowly, feel your way. Thumping heartbeat, seize the day. Roaring, pouring, thunder gush, deep breath, heavy rush. Washed up on holy ground, winter pilgrim, lost and found. Cold kiss, ice caress, wake up baby, go and dress, go and touch, go and taste, not a moment must you waste. Go and bask, go and run, turn your face towards the sun. Smoke ribbons, rose quartz, pink petals, clear thoughts, little wishes, tread the stream, stepping out, coming clean.
East Woodlands. The sun had dropped into the heart of the woods. Each trunk and stalk was carrying its yellowy gold onto a scattered letting go of leaves, now like flames, now like the fins and scales of a beached red fish. Oh yes, I forgot. It is in the dull pulp of sudden not knowing, in the heavy scent of tripping over the tangled past, where love sheds its shoes and swims all orange towards us. I remember now that in that moment something splashed inside my chest.
The Swan. Black feet in dark water, no flesh, just skin, stretched over bone, with sharp claws for fingertips, constantly churning like a mill wheel of thoughts that go round and go nowhere, but to the edge and back again, to the centre, the deepest and darkest part, where tangled ribbons waft and wind and reach up through the black, like tongues full of whispers, twisted threads of stories and lies dancing through the quiet night of the deep, where light and air are shut out, and only those who hold their breath may enter. Only those with the ghost of a body, white as snow and soft as silk, with black feet that can paddle hard, down, down, away from the sun and the hope of spring, to the winter of the bed at the bottom of the lake. There, where the sword of truth awaits its mistress and shines like a torch through the ink of the gloom. She is Persephone, she is Ophelia, she is the companion of Nemu. Only she can travel the dark water and call herself home to that still point of knowing, at the heart of the deep.
The French oak. Finally, the mist settled downwards towards the ground, rippling like a dropped veil, from where all morning it had been gently tracking the trunk and arms of the tree. The branches appeared to breathe, uncovering their essence, statuesque and honest, free of adornment, silvery skin tarnished and dusted green with lichen. I am French oak, it spoke. And all this was watched with deep attention by the dark strutted wood that framed this emerging spectacle. The way a clapping crowd suddenly becomes silent before a seasoned queen.
Cacao, river, soul. There was a long drive and a steep path that led us down to the riverside. The sun was low and a curling breath of autumn beckoned as we walked. Thick and green, the thatch and tuft of hedge and nettle lounged on the verge. The dancers were assembled. Curious feet without any shoes sniffed at the dirt that met them there, ready to be wedded in holy communion as feet and earth have always been. And then came drum and voice and longing as the circle became a rosary, a garland of open hearts singing into the center of our being as one eternal flame. Our cups are filled with forest medicine, stirred to nudge the truth awake. Awake in us, awaken us. The dark voice says, it's time to wake up. Should I hold it?
A religious order. Today, like every other day, we woke up to another naked truth. And as if the distant facts of melting ice caps was not enough, this was surely a revelation to bring us to our knees. Landing as it is, like an excavation of bones in our very own gardens. Populations of butterflies and their friends, the day-flying moth, have now reached an all-time low across the British Isles. today, like every other day, we woke up to another naked truth. And as if the distant facts of melting ice caps was not enough, this is surely a revelation to bring us to our knees. Landing as it is, like an excavation of bones in our very own gardens. Populations of butterflies and friends, the day-flying moth, have now reached an all-time low across the British Isles. The vanishing of colour from the palette of field, woodland, beach and hill sounds in the marrow of what we know is collapsing, that deep memory. Raw tears expressed in childhood with a scratch of thorns. The bitter injustices provoked by the sting of nettles flow out in recognition, watering weeds that will stand as witness as the widowed petals and stamens of unvisited flowers. And perhaps it is the pure and ephemeral nature of these dying wings that leads this poem to speak of another endangered breed, and how, in a sense, all of nature is of a religious order. I'm speaking of populations who, like the flap of butterflies in the forest, walk the earth with an agreed and humbling effort to change the world through the invisible ripples of their prayers. The group of Franciscan friars were gathered, heads bowed, in the unassuming quiet of a chapel, simply furnished from an old stable, clothed in the colour of sparrows, like a brood of household birds, whose song seemed so immaterial until their kind becomes rare. They were, like every other day, making their daily vigil, turning over yet again their world-worn pleas on behalf of the poor. We pray for the homeless, for the tired and lonely. We reach out to you, Lord, to those crossing the sea in their boats. Hear us and bring to the warmth of your arms those who are dying, the ones who will go without food tonight. Moving together like a quiver of brown leaves in an autumn breeze. Eyes curled shut under the watch of a faded rust-red icon. I felt my soul to be a moth, circling around the flickering light that was landing like a winged spirit on the gaze of mother and child. A light that filled the darkened realms of what is dying, hovering over the deep, whispering into the liquid air.
Rebirth. I shed a skin I didn't know I was in. A skin that was running through me like the weft is shot through the warp. Not an outside skin, but an every fibre of my being skin. A cage that I wore on the inside and could not see or smell or taste. You have to sniff it out of you with a different kind of knowing, because your mind won't want to let go. But what you know, in deeper places, will whisper to you and nudge you until you begin to listen. And then a great shudder will erupt from your grief and your desperation, and you will twist and stretch and shake, and you will roar and push and kick it out of you. That skin you were in will not be in you anymore. And though you may feel like a fawn taking her first faltering step, soon you will be dancing.
Look what love has done to me. Birch, beech, sycamore, hazel. The translucent canopy was so birch, beech, sycamore, hazel. The translucent canopy was so interwoven, glowing with green light above our heads. So we could not tell which leaves belonged to which tree. The way that passed along the river was singing in tune with the dripping lane, and our boots scuffed and percussed on the wet mud and unwashed stones. As we mounted the hill, a fox came skirting on the far edge of a field on one side, and on the other a huddle of black bullocks were running together like one dark cloud scudding over an empty sky. And topping the valley, the sky was breaking open. And though the rain tasted familiar, it wasn't melancholy. The wind that carried it was clear, not stirring. When a heart breaks open, it can start spelling out the future. When a heart breaks open, it can start spelling out the future. Marked out by the beauty it has been shaped by, when no one was looking. That transparent. And the life I'm talking about is not one that speaks of experience, but one that simply points and listens and says, look what love has done to me.
Honey River, there is a place I never knew was deep inside from long ago. It is golden sunrise, honey melting, starlight glimmering river song. It is beyond my mind and under my skin, my furthest reach, infinity within. A rainbow bright scatter of diamonds on the crest of endless tumbling waves. It calls to me from ancient times of candlelight and deepest prayers. For the one we are and the all who knows how we came to be here now, to become the flame of love on earth and carry the spark in every cell, in every dream, in every kiss, and remember how we open up to the honey river that calls us home from deep inside and long ago.
Painting with light. Tears well close to the surface now. This is the bit we try to avoid. But its salt brings relief. And as the ice melts, ripples run down the glass veil, the shroud that has hung before us for so long. Inside the ripples, a picture begins to emerge. All this time I realise, even in the darkest dark, these words, my journey with you, has been painting little streaks of light onto black canvas, like the hand of God. Crossing at the dawn of time, painting with light. Tears well close to the surface now, and this is the bit we try to avoid, but its salt brings relief. As the ice melts, ripples run down the glass veil, the shroud that has hung before us for so long. And inside the ripples, a picture begins to emerge. All this time I realise, even in the darkest of dark, these words, my journey with you, has been painting little streaks of light onto black canvas. Like the hand of God, crossing at the dawn of time, painting with light.